Hey, everybody. I'm here with Zach Lamplugh, the director of 15 Things You Didn't Know About Bigfoot. Number one will blow your mind, which is available now on demand. So, Zach, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here.
All right. Well, we're happy to have you. This is a very unique movie, and you've had quite a unique journey getting here. Your editing background in multimedia is quite extensive, and now you're making your feature film debut. Tell me about making the leap. Why did you do it? And once you decided that you were going to get into the business of making movies and not just editing things, not that editing isn't its own,
Right.
crazy,
Yeah.
awesome discipline, but did you have a support structure or guidance in place, or were you just like, I'm going to go do this, and you did a lot of internet research to figure out how to start?
Oh, no to all. Uh, I mean, all right. So where to start with me? I guess I went to film school and everything, but I went to like not a super great film school.
Mhm.
But I always just wanted to make stuff. I mean, I always just wanted to be creatively like working to make projects and complete projects. And so that I am that kind of like screwball guy that I'm a jack of all trades, master of barely anything. But yeah, so like I dabble in everything. I dabble a little bit in like, you know, After Effects. I dabble a little bit in like, sound. Although I guarantee you everybody that like is listening to this that is a sound person I've worked with is cringing. It's like, no, he doesn't. But yeah, I mean, so I just like to make stuff and learn how to make stuff, and learn how to bring new disciplines in. But and I guess I fell into editing. I just fell into it because it was something that I could get paid for. It was something that, nobody wants to do it. It's so tedious. And but it's kind of where the movie gets made. It's kind of where, whether it's a movie or a video or something like that, you can make a video really boring in the edit. You can make anything boring, or you can make it really exciting if you take the time to find the correct music, find the correct sound effects, put the story together. That's its own thing. But yeah, so I always wanted to direct, and we made like a million shorts before this, and then we just kind of took the leap on a bigger project. We just wanted to make a movie, and make a bigger project and see if we could do it. It seemed like the natural next step. So yeah.
So when you say we, who is we? Like you and film school friends or childhood
Oh
friends
no,
or?
no, I have no friends. No, it's me and Brian, who's also in the movie, and Jeff, who's also in the movie, and Tim, our producer, and our friend Joel, who also used to make shorts with us. We just kind of needed to make a bigger project and challenge ourselves, So yeah, and as far as editing, editing, thankfully, I've gotten to work on some actual television shows in editing capacity, and that allows you to be in the same room as a lot of creative decisions. So, and contributing in a way to some of those decisions. And so, you do get to learn from people who have been doing this a lot longer. You don't necessarily get to like impact the show as much as they do, obviously, but like you get to learn like, oh, sometimes it's best to just take 3 days and just sit with it, like, just take days and sit. That was like one thing I learned. I used to be like a really fast editor when I started at Squidbillies a few years ago. I worked on a season of that, and I was like the fastest editor when I got there. I was, people honestly were like, how is he doing all this so fast? And then I realized, I was like, oh, everybody else is moving slow because they're meditating on it. You know what I mean? They're like doing a scene and then being like, I feel like it could get a little funnier, and like giving it half a day, which is fine. Like, give it half a day, think about it, revisit it in the afternoon. Whereas I was just like cranking them out and just being like, it's done now, and that was where I learned like there's really no prize for finishing first. There's no prize for finishing early.
Well, that's interesting you say that, because you were working there for a year and you had this reputation as being really fast. Was it that your work, did you feel that your work could be better, or because there's two ways to look at that, right? Like you could take the
Hmm.
time to make the joke really perfect, or you could be the lightning fast editing guy whose work is as solid as the people who are taking the time to do a little slower.
Um, that actually, so that workflow was just a weird place. I that place in particular was just like, it was kind of crazy. It was really collaborative. I liked it, but it was like, so what they would do is they had like 4 or 5 editors, and they would assign. Now that I've worked at other studios, I've never seen this again. They would give me like episode 3, then they would give someone else episode 4 and someone else episode 5, and they'd be like, just do a pass on it from like Monday to Thursday, do a pass, and then we'll review on Friday. And then on Friday, we would watch a couple episodes, and then they would be like, okay, now Zach take 5, other guy take 4, other guy take 3. They would just like musical chairs it and be
Whoa.
like, now just and they would give some, we'd all watch it together. So we would know like that scene where they're dancing, very funny. This scene right after kind of needs some work. So I don't know. It's a really crazy workflow. And they would just hand it to somebody else. Like you would never do that at a comic strip. Like you would never just be like, yeah, just take Beetle Bailey and just like throw it at the Hagar, the horrible guy, let him just put in some colors, and then, just hand it to another dude and let him finish your work. But it was incredibly collaborative, and it was an environment that was like always kind of best joke wins. It
Hmm.
was, we would watch it and talk about it, and like best idea would win. So yeah, I liked it there.
So in terms of 15 things you didn't know about Bigfoot,
Hmm.
I should have looked at this beforehand. So I'm going to assume that you were also the editor on this film.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you bring anybody in for assistance, or did you wear all the hats?
All right, so I'm gonna say I wore like 90% of the hats, but this thing was my burden from start to finish. But we did have a VFX editor who was incredibly talented and awesome, and then I worked. So speaking to that same environment of it being incredibly collaborative, I edited I edited this movie at my house, and then I finished it at our producer Tim. His he owns a production company called Media Team in Atlanta, and I finished it there. Like I had to go there, and because it was just easier to be working with like 2 desks down from the VFX guy, and right next to the guy who's also the sound mixer and stuff like that. So I finished it there, and I wasn't getting, everybody else was like working on real stuff, and I'm just like this weirdo with a movie in a corner, and everybody was helping me with it like charity. And but as far as yeah, to speak to like it being collaborative, even, I mean, I've known people who are like real not, they don't let you like tell them what to do, and I try to not be like that. So this movie was like, uh I would just be asking random people. Like there was definitely one guy who did nothing on it. I mean, he did nothing on the movie, but I feel like he still got a bit of a say. I mean, he was just there working with Tim, and he would still just occasionally, like, we'd be reviewing a scene, and he'd be like, yeah, it's not that funny, or like he would just be like, yeah, it could be funnier if you put more of a pause. You know what I mean? And I'm just open to suggestion like that. So I'd be like, yeah, all right, cool, we'll do that. Like, so, and some things actually got way funnier, because there was one thing that they were like, just let the music keep running through this scene. And I was like, really? It seems like it should stop. And then I played it, and the whole office just started cracking up because it was so absurd to have the music like keep going under the scene. And I was like, all right, well, it's a hit. I mean, I just made like 5 guys who are working in After Effects like crack up laughing. So
Well,
yeah.
that makes sense, because it's sort of like an in progress test screening. The people that you're
All the
going to
time,
be
yeah.
making it for, if they're reacting to it, then you got to go with the crowd. That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. And Tim knew a lot more about the color correction, stuff like that. And there was a handful of times where I just kind of got like brain vegetable brain. And I was like, Tim, you just take a shift. Like, I don't know anybody else that edits like that, where I would just be like having to talk to distributors or something, or talk to festival organizers. And I'd just be like, Tim, you edit for a while, man. You got notes, you do it. You sit there and press the keys. Most other places are like super formal, and I don't like that very much.
Well, it kind of shows in the looseness of the film itself. Now there have been a lot of mockumentaries and found footage movies over the years. I think 15 Things You Didn't Know About Bigfoot really injects something new into a genre that a lot of people may have kind of written off at this point. Um, did you have any particular influences as far as other films in any genre that you
Pop
thought
star.
that pop star, yeah, definitely.
Pop star.
That you, well, anything that you wanted
Yeah.
to like speak new to this genre, to inject your own, put your own stamp
Oh
on it,
man.
because there's a mixture of comedy and also sort of horror in this too.
Well, so I remember when we released our trailer, I was telling the journalist that released it that uh I've been telling people this is Blair Witch meets what we do in the shadows. But the reason behind that, I feel like it's kind of not though, but it's like you have to use two movies that are a hit, when you do that. You can't be like it's Battleship meets Waterworld. So but the two that I like love are Popstar and Creep. Creep on Netflix.
I have not seen Creep.
And have you
I've
seen
seen Popstar.
Popstar?
Yes. Oh
Okay,
yeah.
Creep is really good. It's Mark Duplass, and he like plays a killer. But yeah, it's very you're trapped. It's a found footage movie, but it's more kinetically like you're trapped in the camera than a lot of other ones, and it's got a lot of good like performances in it. But yeah, man, I always thought, I was like, I want this to be like Creep meets Popstar. But and I want it to be actually laugh out loud funny. I feel like it's not in a lot of comedies these days. It's kind of like a muted like chuckle to a lot of comedy.
I was, just honestly, I was surprised at how much I was laughing out loud during this, just watching it at home on a laptop. Usually, yeah, you get a chuckle or like, but yeah,
I'm glad you dug it.
I was having to listen out because I didn't want to be too obnoxious to my wife and kids, but yeah. I want to ask, there's been a lot of interest in Bigfoot lately. I was thinking back to Bobcat Goldthwait's Willow Creek from 2013. Right now, there's a handful of Bigfoot movies. There's a Hulu documentary series. What is
Yeah.
up with the interest in Bigfoot lately? And what's your interest in Bigfoot?
Well, all right. I'll say this first. We shot this movie back in 2018.
Okay.
It's just an independent
You're claiming
movie,
the stakes.
so
You got the rights.
it's an independent movie, so it takes forever to come out.
Sure.
And then a bunch of this other stuff came out. What else came out? There was the Sasquatch thing on Hulu.
Yeah, there's another one.
And then
None
there
of these
was
I've seen. There's like
the Tom Green one came out.
Tom Green. I think I missed that one.
I saw it when I was Googling. There's like a Tom Green Bigfoot movie coming out, but it doesn't. The trailer looks like it was made in like Windows Movie Maker or something. It just like the stock fonts. It's like Times New Roman as a credit font. But
is it called Sasquatch Got Fingered? No, probably not.
Man, that movie was killer. Were we talking about the Bigfoot interest?
Yeah.
Man, I actually think it's weird. There are a lot of Bigfoot movies. There aren't a lot of like there's a lot of bad Bigfoot movies. If you go to Amazon, there's like a lot. There's like you named 3, but there's like 80. The Bigfoot has a big following. But a renewed interest. I mean, for me, I always just thought it was something that interested me, and like, I feel like there used to be more interest in Bigfoot. Like there used to be more stuff on History Channel about Bigfoot. Harry and the Hendersons was obviously like kind of a big movie back in the day that I remember watching and being like, that's pretty neat. Yeah, I remember just like there was a lot more Bigfoot in mainstream media, but Yeah, I mean, lately there's been Exists, which is by the Blair Witch director. That came out in like 2014, 2015, and then uh the Bobcat Goldthwait one. I guess we wanted something that would. We're from the South. All of us are from Georgia, so we wanted to do something that could be Southern. So, and we feel like there'd been good vampire movies. There'd been good zombie movies lately. It's all been kind of exhausted, and we wanted something that could highlight, a certain kind of humor about the South. So,
It's weird. You're the second filmmaker I'm talking to this week who has a film coming out who's also a Georgian filmmaker. Talked to
who
another.
else?
His name's Danny Madden. He just came out with a film called Beast Beast.
Hmm.
It's a totally different kind of film. But
Yeah.
I'm thinking about this. Georgia is a place where a lot of productions have, Hollywood has kind of gone to Georgia. It's like the new Canada.
Yeah.
What is it about Georgia specifically, the creative roots there, the hub of creativity there seems to be?
Man, there's you're just kind of well, first off, maybe it's a negative thing. It's a right to work state.
Mm.
So you're free to do whatever you want. You're free to be taken advantage of by whoever you want. So everybody there is, I don't know. I feel like there's just a lot of creativity there. It's one of those cities that's not New York or LA, but you can still be outcast. You know what I mean? Like Outcast came from there. Big Boy's still there. Gucci Mane's there. There's a ton of great hip hop there. And then, they had Adult Swim. They had like all the Adult Swim stuff back then started there. Archer was there. So it's like I said, it's not New York or LA, but there's a lot of potential to work among those people, those like handful of people. And it's and when those people do get opportunities or make opportunities, they're generally a more creative space than the other environments, like because they're making it up as they go along. Like somebody like Squidbillies, they make a show and they're like, I don't know, just get like 5 editors and we'll just like make this shit in a room. There were no storyboard artists on that show. There's none.
Oh.
They make it all entirely in Premiere. So they just like bring the characters in and move them around like little. Anyway, so it's a really like conducive work environment, or just conducive environment in Atlanta to meet people who are creative. And then also there, like you said, there's a lot of people working on major productions there. So there are people running around who are trained, who worked on Avengers, who also want to work on other stuff. One of the guys actually, I'll tell the story. One of the guys, one of these guys, there's a big studio down there. I'm trying to decide if I should use this guy's name, but one of the guys that you worked on, like he was working on Jumanji down there, like the Kevin Hart one.
Mm-hmm.
And he just took a bunch of lights from work to shoot my movie. We were desperately in need of lights, and we it was for a night scene, and I couldn't make it happen otherwise. And I was texting him, and he was like, I think I can get you some lights from work. Do you want to come by work and pick them up, and then I'll meet you later or something like that? And I went by his work, and he was like, so this is the set for Jumanji. He like walked me around all these crazy like rope bridges and temples and stuff, and that movie had The Rock in it, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then he walked me around. He was like, I'll take you to the other set too, just since you're down here. And they weren't like in production at that time. They were just doing set preparation. And he walked me through this space where it was like temples and stuff. And like these dudes were like cutting up lumber to build all the sets and just like blasting Led Zeppelin. And then he walked me into a place that was a full-size restaurant. I don't know where like this happened in the movie, if they like went to Morocco and there was but it was like this crazy old, like made to look old restaurant, and or like a cantina or something from Star Wars. And he walked me through this whole thing, like 7 sets. And then I realized at the end of his little tour, I was like, dude, we were inside for 20 minutes. Like that thing was like 2 malls, you know? Anyway, so yeah, he, you know, by day is like working on these giant productions. And then he was like, by the way, here, just like steal like 3 lights and we'll shoot your movie tonight. And so he loaded some lights in the back of my car and we went and shot some movies.
Well, that's the cool, indie spirit, right? You got someone who's working all day on a big Hollywood film and then at night is helping you to shoot this independent thing. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
it's got to
yeah.
be exhausting, right? One of the things I loved about your film is that on the surface, it's about a hunt for Bigfoot. But on another level, and possibly even a more important one, it's about internet culture, clickbait, the sort of generational addiction to likes for validation.
Hmm.
It seems, your main character, Brian, is a very lost character. So how much of this is a metaphor, the hunt for Bigfoot, how much of that is a metaphor for, say, Generation Z's hunt for meaning in a social media age? On a scale of 1 to 10, how off base am I?
No, I mean you're spot on. You know, that's like what I
Wow.
wanted to make it about was not necessarily Gen Z though. I mean about just like millennial
Mm,
stuff. I feel like that's been a big theme in my life for sure. You know, like a big theme in trying to find a career that fulfills you creatively, that is also like good on the resume, that is also, but you know, they what's good on the resume? What's good on the resume is like big production companies. You know what I mean? Like they want to hear that you worked for Coke. Did you care about any of the crap you made for Coke? Like, you know what I mean? You that's yeah, it's terrible. It's just like this life you have to live when you work in the media where you're like, you know, I shot this thing for the Oscars or whatever, and you hated it the whole time. I mean, maybe I'm just talking from my own experience where like it's like big brands like media millennials will never admit it, but they love big brands. Like they do. They love being like, I have a friend that works at Coke, I have a friend that works at Delta, but none of them are like, I have a friend who, you know, just is really creative. You know, I mean, they don't care about, you know, being really creative until a bigger brand attaches themselves to your creativity.
that's
Do you
really
know what I'm
sad.
talking about? Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I mean,
is.
I can't relate to that specifically because we're in entirely different fields. I'm a film critic, but
Hmm.
but I do kind of understand that idea of in terms of like journalism or entertainment reporting, chasing the big outlet.
Yeah.
Part of that I could see as there's so many, with the internet, there's so many, everyone's their own outlet now. I'm an independent podcaster, right? If I were
Hmm.
working for the New York Times or something like that, or Vice, it might be a
Yeah.
little bit different. But yeah, there is this bizarre brand loyalty.
Or
Uh,
like if your podcast got picked up by the Nerdist, how many of your friends would be like, dude, he's big time now? It's like nothing changed. He's still recording it in his house.
but you see that, well, if I were picked up by the nurse, I don't know if that would be the case. They might want you to move out somewhere and get a big set and
Maybe.
all that other stuff. But you look
Yeah.
at Joe Rogan, right? His big move to Spotify. I frankly didn't follow him over there, partially because YouTube is more convenient to just pull up on my phone. But
Hmm.
it is just this weird idea that the guy who's like this indie dude now has a big corporate deal. It almost feels counterintuitive. So I do get what you're saying.
Yeah. I guess maybe I'm also just projecting. I'm probably just projecting and telling my own story on screen.
And that's all art, all great art is personal, right? So to that point, did you have any catharsis when you were writing? I assume you were the Brian character, even though that you show up as yourself in the movie as the cameraman.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I've been a little bit of both those guys before. You know what I mean? Um, I've been a little bit of the guy who works at like cool media companies or big brands or whatever, and is just trying to do something creative, but you realize it's not creative at all. And then I've also been the other guy who is just trying to get through his day job. and as a camera operator, and just trying to deal with personalities, on set, and is like, please stop. I just need to get paid, you know?
Well, okay, so you've got your first feature. It's
Hmm.
out there. People are seeing it. I
Hope
saw that.
so.
Well, I do too, honestly. I saw on IMDb that you've just completed a short, Brian's Roommate. Is that right?
Oh, that was a few years ago.
Oh,
Don't
okay.
worry about it. We used to make these. We used to make shorts all the time. We made like 100 shorts. We had a sketch group, and that was like one of the first ones we made, and we like submitted it to festivals. And when you submit to festivals, it has to like get sucked into the IMDb database and stuff. So yeah, but that was fun. I mean, we used to make shorts and stuff. Yeah,
It was listed, I think, as above this movie, so I thought maybe it was something that was
really.
coming out. Yeah, it said like Brian's Roommate and then completed in the red letters. But I
I
just
probably just need to update my thing.
Oh, okay. Well, I just wanted to ask, like, so now that you've got a taste of feature filmmaking, are you going to pursue like making another feature? Do you
Yeah.
have to wait and see how this does to see if you got the momentum to do another one? Like, what are you planning to
Yeah,
do?
I want to definitely do another one. I want to make another movie with, hopefully the same people again. Hopefully maybe some more resources instead of having to edit this in the corner of a production company. But yeah, I mean, it was like one of the most creative things we've ever tackled, and I like the way it came out. And I think I just want to try and do it again and try and capture the same creativity again, which is kind of hard when you have emails that have 30 people on them and everything has to go through a certain chain of command. And so I don't know what that looks like. Or I
Mm.
mean, like, I don't know what the steps are, but I just hope to do it again.
Well, are you thinking that you might do something in found footage? Do you have ideas that you want to do, or are you
Oh,
just going to
we've
wait for the
already no, we started working on some outlines. We have some. I'm writing a script right now that we want to start running by people. Yeah, but hopefully just something that's just as fun. Like, I would love to do horror again. I would love to do like another horror comedy if people seem to like this one. And I would love to, hopefully make it just as funny.
Well, if there's a way that you can team Brian and Jeff up again, that would
Oh,
that would
hell
be
yeah.
wonderful. They were terrific in this movie. Also, as well as, not to give anything away, but and I don't remember his character's name, but he's the redneck who kind of takes over later in the film
Oh,
and give us
Will,
a little
dude,
tour.
that guy's name is Will Copeland. He's so funny. Him, uh, there are like two or three actors that have cameos in this. So all these actors, we did no like casting agency. They're all just people I knew because we'd made so many shorts. So Will had been in like 4 or 5 shorts before. The camouflage guy had been in like 4 or 5 shorts. So we kind of just knew their natural acting ranges of like what they can just like crush it at. So we would write these great 3 or 4 page cameos and just know that if they came out, they would just destroy it. So yeah, man, he was so funny, and he was so charitable with his time as well. And he really takes a hard slap to the face. I think there so many people in this movie, or so many people are like, was that like a stunt? And I'm like, nah, we didn't have the resources, so we just punched him.
Oh, well,
Yeah, man.
it's a
Will
terrific.
Copeland's so funny.
Yeah, it's also a terrific bit of writing and filmmaking. Just that little 3-minute interstitial. I could have watched an entire movie about that. My jaw hit the floor during a particular moment. I won't spoil, but yeah, it takes a lot for me to get that reaction from me
You can
personally.
spoil it, man. I don't care. It was.
It's
Are you? Yeah, go ahead.
there's the lab that he is giving a tour of, and then it pans over to some people conferring in a corner, and the camera obviously is not supposed to see that, and one of
Yeah.
the guys
So
comes out and say, you shouldn't be filming this.
our characters get kidnapped, and then it's a found footage movie, so the camera cuts out, and then the camera clicks on, and it's no longer the main character handling it. the movie is now handled by a completely different guy who just found the camera, and he just takes the movie for like 5 minutes. He basically walks you around his house, and he's very eager to show off his lifestyle. And he's also one of these we tried to base him on like some people we know who in the South, there's definitely like a type of guy who's like a redneck, but also really into like hip hop, you know, world star, really into knows every kind of rapper too. And like basically this guy is like a hillbilly who thinks he's on Cribs and wants to show you his whole lifestyle. And he just killed it, man, walking around showing you his shitty little house and the trailer he lives in and stuff. Yeah, man. That dude couldn't have done better. He's from like Tennessee. He really does. His accent's not that thick, but he really has that accent.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on the film, 15 Things You Didn't Know About Bigfoot. Number one will blow your mind. I love that it's sort of a clickbait title, but it's a movie that's sort of also about clickbait. I got to the end and I wasn't disappointed about the list. So
well, thank you.
Thank you very much for talking to me. Good luck on whatever you decide to do next. I'll be there to watch it. And yeah, everyone check it out. 15 Things You Didn't Know About Bigfoot. Number one will blow your mind, on demand right now. And thank you very much, Zach.
Yeah, I'd say just go check out the trailer, and if it's something you like, then check it out on demand. I appreciate the your time.
All right, man. Take it easy, and I'll
thank
catch
you
you
very
later.
much, Ian. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.